But let's talk about something slightly different, because Kinsey Schofield is here, royal commentator, all the way from Los Angeles, California, Hollywood indeed, the home of the celebrities. Prince Harry has left America, so Kinsey, very good morning to you. Good to know that he's out of the way for you, but he's in the way here, and he came here yesterday, apparently, or came here possibly Sunday night, as appearing in his usual sort of charity capacity. But it doesn't look like he's going to see his dad, who's in Scotland. Doesn't look like he's going to see his brother, who is nowhere, even if he was next door to him, wouldn't go and see him. Doesn't even look like he's going to see his Uncle Andrew.
Yeah, I think Andrew's probably the last person he wants to see, or be seen with, I should say. You know, I'm not going to give him that much of a hard time, because I think WellChild is such a great organization. You know, WellChild rewards and acknowledges not only sick children, but the people that sacrifice to take care of them, like their parents, like their nurses. So that, you know, what a brilliant organization. Prince Harry's been associated with them for over 15 years now. What I will say that's probably a little controversial is that Prince Harry has been away from his wife for over a week now, and yes, he looks pretty happy about it.
Well, this is a strange thing, right? Because they're normally kind of joined at the hip. Is this the first time he's been away from her for this length of time? Because it looks like he's going to be away from her for about 3 weeks, doesn't it?
Oh, well, he is. We do suspect that he's going to head back home pretty quickly, but he's got some other solo trips on the agenda coming up in the next few weeks. Absolutely. And, you know, I've had this conversation before over the years, the professional divorce. And I actually do think we are seeing it. You know, this time around, I think it's going to stick, because Meghan has Hollywood aspirations. Meghan has aspirations that involve fame. And you know, Harry's getting criticized because he has this great big Netflix contract and dodged most of the polo shoots, right, with Netflix being disappointed that he's not all over the new Polo documentary. This is Meghan's world, and Harry has sacrificed a lot so that Meghan can have everything she ever wished for. And I think that now that he's set her on this path and helped her achieve things that she would never be able to achieve on her own in this town, I think that he's trying to focus on what he knows best. And what he knows best is how to show up to events like this, be absolutely charming, and get a lot of great press for really good causes.
Yes, and I suppose that's what he thinks is a good way of coming. But of course, here in Britain, we think to ourselves whenever we see Harry, well, he keeps telling us it's the most dangerous part of the world. He doesn't really want to come here. And why does he keep coming if he thinks it's that dangerous?
I mean, you're making a very good point. I think it's because ultimately he is homesick. Ultimately, he knows that his value is so much associated with who his relatives are. And when he's over in the UK, we're talking, you know, the first thing you said to me is he's not going to see his father, the king. He's not going to see his brother, the future king. So every time Prince Harry jumps on a plane and goes over to the UK, he not only reminds you and I, but the entire world that he is a member by blood of the royal family, technically no longer a working member, but that is good for ultimately the brand that he is trying to build in the States. That's all he has, this association with his family.
It really is, and it's kind of sad in a way, isn't it, that he clearly misses it. He clearly, you know, he likes this idea of being, you know, Mr., you know, charitable organisation, and he likes to talk about, you know, mental fitness, which is a new thing, not mental health. But as you say, he's never looked happier than when he's on his own.
It's true. I mean, even in New York, I hated the Jimmy Fallon skit. I thought it was beneath him. But the fact that he was able to participate in something like that, going through a haunted house, being himself for the most part, we did see some authenticity. And it's the type of thing we don't ever see when he's standing next to his wife. He's always very concerned about his surroundings. He's always very prim and proper. I would argue that I see him looking more uncomfortable and anxious every time I see him with his wife than I ever saw him when he was a working member, solo working member of the British royal family.
No, exactly right. Let's pivot slightly away from Prince Harry, because some terrible, terrible pictures have come in from the US in that hurricane-damaged community. Lots of it happening in, I think it's North Carolina and Georgia seem to have been the most badly hit places. Joe Biden supposedly is going to visit those communities, many of which are being described as having been wiped off the map. At least 133 people dead. But Biden's a bit late to the party in a way, isn't he? Because Donald Trump's already been visiting some of these communities, and Biden sort of has been nowhere to be seen.
And very cleverly documenting this throughout Truth Social. And that was one of the arguments that a Democratic strategist made when it comes to VP Kamala Harris's lack of presence there, emphasizing the political significance of disaster response in the lead up to the upcoming election, warning that the visuals are so important and people will remember her response or lack thereof when it comes time to vote on November 5th. But you're absolutely right. Donald Trump, the first one to show up. He visited some of the devastation in Georgia on Monday. That was in the afternoon. He wanted to observe recovery efforts after the hurricane absolutely tore through the southeast late last week. At least 133 people have been killed that we know of. More than 600 people remain missing in a single North Carolina county as of late Monday. And over 1 million people currently without power. So this is absolutely a crisis situation for our country. And you do want somebody that acts with a sense of urgency.
Absolutely right. Let's talk about some of the showbiz stories that are hitting the papers here. Strictly very much on the front pages of The Sun and The Mail and The Times, everybody else, talking about this apology that's been given to Amanda Abbington because of what treatment she received at the hands of Giovanni Pernici. Both have claimed victory in the case. The BBC comes out of it looking pretty squalid, as it normally does. And it looks now as though Amanda Abbington's going to sue them for all the money in the world. So the story hasn't ended yet.
I know it's just going to keep going. Now, in America, we just recently had one of the star dancers from Dancing with the Stars, which is our Strictly, arrested for a domestic violence incident. These institutions, whether it be ABC News, but especially tax-funded BBC, are supposed to be trustworthy and sacred. These shows, you know, on the outside, they look very wholesome, but we're finding out that all is not well behind the scenes in some cases. And I would just say attitude reflects leadership, and these toxic environments don't breed themselves. So BBC does have to take some accountability here, the same way that ABC, the domestic violence incident here with ABC, the dancer actually married he married his co-dancer from the show. So you know, these scandals are mirror images of each other, and hopefully people will work to figure out what's going on behind the scenes and adjust. Or can the entire show?
Well, exactly right. Absolutely incredible stuff. Let's finish up with Philip Schofield. We've got a little clip for you.
No relation.
No relation. The man who eventually kind of got his comeuppance. It all started, funnily enough, because of the royal family, didn't it? Because he and Holly decided to jump the queue when the Queen's funeral was going on and when she was lying in state. But let's have a look at what he says ahead of his this week's Channel 5 documentary.
I've been cast away on a desert island completely on my own. All I have is camera gear, and I can say whatever I want about whatever I want. It's my chance to tell my side of my story. I know what I did was unwise, but is it enough to absolutely destroy someone?
Well, apparently not, because he hasn't been destroyed. He's now doing a Channel 5 documentary on a desert island. A lot of people have said best place for him. He claims now that he was fired from ITV because his brother was a paedophile. I think there's probably slightly more to it than that.
Yeah, I mean, this creature has become such a loathsome character. Take some responsibility. I mean, his brother is disgusting, but at the same time, we don't think anything happened inappropriately before this young man was 18. But Philip Schofield met his former lover at a drama school when he was invited to speak at this event when the boy was 15 years old, and they started a Twitter friendship. You know, That's weird. The kid asked for career advice. Now, again, Schofield says nothing happened until he turned 18 years old. But do you want a medal? I mean, still, it's disgusting. And just take some responsibility. Don't woe is me. And that's all what you just showed me. That was all woe is me.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think most people are kind of going, we're not really that interested. Just go away. We don't care. And also, instead of actually starting afresh, he spent most of the time sort of, you know, dissing his former employers at ITV and sort of trying to make out that he was badly done by. And I mean, if you're going to try and start again, surely the best thing to do is to ignore all that and start again.
Yeah, it was, well, he's in the Harry and Meghan bus. They haven't got the memo. Focus on the future. Let the past go. No more rear view mirror. And that's exactly what you're saying. You know, Philip Schofield just having a pity party on a beach. I mean, get a life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, you know, tonight, one final thing before we let you go. The big debate, Tim Walz against J.D. Vance, the two vice presidents. Probably going to be better, I think, than the last debate between Trump and Kamala Harris, isn't it?
You know what? Why I think that you're absolutely right? Because it's going to be up to J.D. Vance and Tim Walz to fact check. The CBS moderators have agreed that they are not going to insert themselves the way that the ABC moderators did. So, you know, it was just, it looked so unethical watching that ABC debate. And CBS has said, we're going to allow you to fact check each other. So you need to come with your homework. You need to come prepared. It's going to be 90 minutes of must-see TV. And every time you hear Childless Cat Lady, I suggest you take a shot of something sweet.
Yes, I'll get the limoncello ready for that, I think, because probably don't want to go too hard on the brandy. But listen, great to talk to you, Kinsey. Thank you very much indeed. Kinsey Schofield, royal commentator.